So what does he actually do?
Okay, everything is on.
All right. We'll call to order the meeting and time is 7:30. Please stand for the pledge and short devotion.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we ask that you guide us tonight to best make decisions for our township and for the residents. We ask that you keep everybody safe that has anything to do with the township and keep the nice weather coming. Amen.
Somebody knocking?
Knocking?
Somebody knocking on the door.
Anybody have anything additional for the agenda?
I do. I wanted to give you an update on the progress with Route 30 from the meetings I've been attending.
Where do you want the,
I mean, it's old business.
all
Maybe stick it in there.
This is Route 30 up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
anybody else?
Your fiscal officer will have a number of things. I see under cemetery, there'll be an extra one. Under the road report, I have some releasement of payments there, about 3 things there. Under old business, I'll have 2 things there. Under new business, 1, correspondence, 1. These all came in here today.
What'd you say for under new business?
No,
One?
Yeah.
No, you have one, Brian. Both?
Nope. Everything I want to talk about is on the agenda already.
All right. With that, we'll move on to the trustee meeting minutes from Monday, 9/13/2021.
I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
So next, we'll move to the treasurer's report.
So fiscal officer, that American Rescue first round, the 209,000, that's in the account now.
Yes, if you look under revenue, under the 2273 fund, it's called American Rescue Act.
Yep.
I put that 209, 187, in there.
Okay.
I will talk about that later, where I
Okay.
got those funds and stuff.
Trustee Varian moves to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No public speaks tonight. We'll move into the fire report.
The first item on the fire agenda, looking for approval to purchase 2 sets of boots, fire boots, for Lindsay McQuainer and DJ Williams. The total cost with shipping is $654.
$654 even.
Yes, up to that amount.
And Brian, this is when we emailed back and forth on a little bit this week.
Yeah,
The funds available for that.
yeah, Lindsay's, I believe, was a replacement for the repair.
Yeah.
Chief had notified me earlier.
Cool.
And DJ Williams, part of back in March when we were doing our turnout gear, the boots were, all these things were ordered, but they weren't really officially approved because it took this long to get them.
Got it.
So
All right, Trustee Varian moves to, what's the vendor? I'm sorry.
Fire safety services.
Fire safety, okay. Trustee Varian moves to pay fire safety services up to $654 for boots, 2 sets of boots.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to pass this down so you guys can sign that off for me. I have that prepared for tonight. That'll be 21. There's 2 things. The one pair did not come in yet. Lindsay's hasn't come. DJ's is here. So you'll see the warrants only for one of them, but the purchase order is made out, like the chief said, for $654 for both of them.
The next issue on the agenda, about a month or so ago when we met, we had kind of discussed adjusting how we can provide training hours for new hires. So I was looking to see if we could get something officially put in place so that as we start to hire people. What I had suggested a while back, if somebody comes in that has no experience at all, if we would be able to let them work for 8 hours per week as a third person for up to 3 months. And I believe if we could do that, then they would be much more prepared to be on shift compared to how we do it now. And then, of course, if we hire people that are experienced, we wouldn't have to go nearly that long. Probably, depending on the level of experience, some people we could hire and maybe do 1 or 2 8-hour shifts, and they would be ready to go. But people that are inexperienced, we probably have to go up to 3 months of 8 hours per week as a third person. So I don't know if the fiscal officer had a chance to evaluate that, if we can do that or not, or something along those lines.
How many hours you talking? Would you
Well,
say
I mean,
about?
it would vary, but so you're looking at
You're looking at
96 hours roughly for an inexperienced person for the 3 months, and then as little as probably 8 for somebody who's been doing it for a while. And you know, if we could bring them in and just show them how we do things and show them our equipment, most people that have been doing it for a few years will be able to move right on the shift then. So as little as 8 hours, but for somebody who has zero experience just out of school, I was looking for up to every 12 weeks at 8 hours a week.
And is your hope to, when they're training, they would work those 8 hours, obviously being trained, and then would they also work a regular shift then
Well,
too?
no,
Or would
they
you wait
wouldn't be-
until that 3 hours?
Yeah, they wouldn't be cleared for shift until their training is complete.
All right. So when we look at this, right now when we hire somebody, we train them as best we can, we get them in there.
So like right now.
We're paying them anyway.
We pay them 8 hours to come in,
Okay.
which is not near enough for somebody who has no experience.
Right.
So we pay the 8 hours for them to come in for everybody that gets hired right now, but that's not nearly enough for somebody. And, you know, we do have to hire before the end of the year.
So they wouldn't work a regular shift until they got their 3 months training done.
Yes, at the max. Now, some people, you know, some people
Right,
move
some people
along
are gonna
quicker,
go
they could
quicker,
get cleared, but they wouldn't be working shift until they're cleared
Okay.
from their training.
Okay.
So yeah, up to the 96 hours but again, not really known. So we have people that have applied or could apply here in the near future, but the majority of the people that apply are inexperienced individuals. Now, maybe with some of these changes we're making, we might get some more experienced people here in the next few months. At least that's what we're anticipating. But for now, most of the people that apply are less experienced.
So
Trustees and training funds, I always account for training money for the training hours, and there's like, I actually give about $10,000. We have utilized that in equipment and in training about $5,700 of it. A combination of taking out of what I call the soft billing, the 2281, 2282, we should be able to meet that this year. And then I can budget in for next year. If we need to bring in 3 or 4 people,
Right,
for
we could
example.
probably put a number on it.
It's,
I mean, like $1,400.
Yeah, that's what I figured. At
I'm at
$1,400, if you go times 4, that's
Yeah,
the normal. I'd use 10,000 in training usually.
And that would be 4 people that are all inexperienced and
Yeah.
use all 96 hours. So that would probably not be the case every time.
But you should be all right.
Well, and I guess the way I would look at it too is when you look from the outside in, you know, as a taxpayer and as a resident, when someone comes to your house for an emergency, you obviously expect a professional
Right.
firefighter medic in front of you, and sending someone out after 8 hours, you know, I think if we can afford to train, I think training is good, and I think it's going to make us better in the long run because of that.
And this would go along towards, the other issue of, with just covering the schedule. It'll help get people to want to come in because they know they're going to get that training for up to 96 hours.
Yeah.
'Cause basically, that's what other departments do. They pay to train their people.
And it would be their regular wage, correct?
Yeah, this would be the regular.
Whatever their wage is.
whatever
The
their-
wage isn't changed because it's training. Okay.
Right.
Is this something that, since we're doing it for such an extended period of time, that we could require them to work for us for like at least 1 year or something? Or
Yeah, we could put something in place.
just like if we're paying
Right.
for extra?
Yep.
Yeah, that
We could
makes
put
sense.
a 12-month requirement on there.
Once their training's completed.
I don't
Right.
have that in front of me, trustees, maybe chief knows what it is, like when they do paramedic and different training, there's levels, they have to give a service or reimburse.
If we
I
pay-
didn't know if there was anything
No,
at all.
nothing for that, but if we send them through fire EMT, it's 1 year. If we send them through paramedic, it's 3 years, and that's from when it's complete. When they're
Okay.
complete from that, when everything's complete, then it's that time frame from that date. So we could put something in place to require them for a 12-month time frame if we pay them that 96 hours of training.
Okay.
Trustees, would you need a resolution or something to back up for the chief to do that? Or do you want him to prepare something, or how do you want to do that?
I think we can do it by resolution because he doesn't have anything in his handbook.
It needs to be added. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think to give it validity, we need to make a resolution here and then he can write it in.
And then we can
as
put it
of
in the
that
handbook.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Trustee Varian would like to make a motion to pay a new firefighter employee, EMT employee, up to 96 hours of training hours, typically 8 hours per week for 3 months. Once those training hours are paid and that time is done, we do ask that the firefighter EMT works for 12 months in our department.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
If they don't work it, what are you gonna do?
What, the 12 months?
Prorate?
Well, we could do that because that's the way the other,
That's the way
the
the other
other,
one.
the other
I think you
issues are
prorate it just like you did
They
the
don't
3 years.
that's
Yeah.
what you mean.
Right.
Yeah, they have to pay you
If
back.
they only work for you 3 months and, hey, I got another job and I quit,
Yeah.
you just invested
You've paid 96 hours.
$1,400 in them
Yeah,
right
right,
there. you
right.
know?
I think we prorate it like the other ones.
Right.
We'll when we clean up our handbook, when we have a lot to do, we'll add this in there. Okay. Right. Okay. Or can I take the premium pay, or do you want to do the premium pay?
Yeah, no, if you're ready, that's the only other thing that I had on there besides the call volume, so.
Okay, so let's talk about the premium pay a minute. We've talked about this in the last work session meeting that we had. I guess maybe my first question to the chief is a little bit off the top of the premium pay, but I assume the paid 24 for 24 was well received
Yes,
by the fire department.
yes, it was well received.
Great, that's wonderful. So the conversation that we had was about premium pay, using some American Rescue funds to help with this process. I think we all agreed that we would make this a temporary thing. So when the funds run out, they run out. So the firefighters and the employees don't expect it forever because the money is being used out of a COVID stimulus chunk. We had talked about things along the $3 to $4 range, and as far as premium pay goes, that would happen when the employee would be on call, so pretty much away from the fire station, doing their duties in COVID's way. If you were, they'd be on the premium pay. When we did our math, we looked at we added up to about $40,000 a year. Is that right, Fiscal Officer Lowry?
No, it's about $8,700 a year at $3.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It was
And
It
more
was,
than-
it was 40,000 over 5.
Over 4 years
Yeah.
is what I was
Okay.
figuring.
Okay.
The money, the stimulus, if we wanted to use that, that's why, not knowing yet what you trustees have planned for that additional funds we have 418,000 and some change to use this was just a portion to help with the fire
Yeah.
premium pay, that we could maybe use $8,000 or $9,000 a year based on your approval, trustees, and then still have enough funds to do other projects.
Right. So one of the questions that was brought to the table, and you can help us answer this, Chief. As a part of this, it's going to be obviously the work of the chief and the assistant chief and the fiscal officer to get these hours turned in.
Right.
So if we were to approve this, we'd have to either change or adjust how we're turning hours in, so the fiscal officer can see those sheets and say, okay, these folks were out for this amount of time. This is their premium pay number. Do you have an idea of what that would look like?
Yeah, so I don't know if you see the payroll sheets at all.
I do not see the
It's an
fire.
Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And I can add a couple of columns in there to show how many hours each person was on calls during that pay period.
Okay.
And then the next column would show what that amount of money would be.
Okay.
We can, I can calculate it that way. And then if you want, there could be another column that shows how many calls they were actually on, but that could be a little bit misleading because one call might be an hour.
Yeah.
And another call would be 2 hours.
You might sit at the ER for 4 hours.
If you want to see how many hours that each person's actually on calls, I can just add a column that shows that.
Okay.
And then the column right next to it would have whatever we multiply it by. If it's $3,
Okay.
that column would have the amount. And then all of it would be in the final column that shows what the pay is for that pay period.
A couple of questions I have. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
As fiscal officer, I really would like that sheet exactly like it is, but
Mhm.
just put one column in that says how many hours.
So,
And then whatever the trustees, if they approve something,
mhm,
I know right then I can just plug that in and it goes right in their pay and it identifies it, separates it out. Now, if you want to, on your spreadsheet, to say, what I'm concerned about is if it's 2.25, 2.5, we're going to round off, we need to go on a quarter hours. So it's simple.
So it's simpler. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to make it complicated.
yeah, so I can round everything to the quarter hour if you want me to. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
And,
not,
and on your sheet, it always gives the total at the far
Right,
right column of everything. That's fine, but I want everyone to understand how I break that down now is so they can see how many hours they worked. They will be able to see they on shift
yes,
separate.
okay,
The auditor, when I talked to them and ran this all by them, they said that's the key. They want to see when they're out in that.
so on that final sheet, you want to see the shift hours and then another column that shows
Yes.
on-call hours?
Yeah.
Right.
I can do that.
So we can split
Yes.
that up. Right.
That way I can see it right at point. Now, here's another one I want to throw at you. When I was asking Amy about this, you give the sheets that give you call volumes from meeting to meeting roughly to the trustees, like tonight on the backside of their fire sheets.
Yeah,
I want to be able to, at a quick glance, because the auditor's going to want me to show when they go out on call, what run it is, so we know our checks and balances are all in it. I don't have to know the run. I can tell by the date
mhm.
and who was on shift. I just want to be able to know,
We got-
can you make your call,
Can this match that?
can you make that match your bi-weekly payroll? If you
What do you
can't,
need to match?
I just want to see these dates sometimes they're not the same
Okay.
bi-weekly date.
Yes,
I didn't know if you could do
So,
that.
so we can just make this follow payroll
Yep.
and not follow the meeting.
yes, that's.
Yeah.
no
Does that
problem.
make sense?
Yes.
Follow payroll, not the meeting.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay.
And that would make it
Okay.
a check and balance for me in the office, very
Yeah, you're gonna
easy.
look at this and say, okay,
Plus, the
Right.
auditor definitely looks at your runs a lot of times to see where we're, what we're doing on runs for our Bureau workers comp versus when your guys are at the station or when you come from home to go out on a call. We keep track of all this.
yeah, fiscal officer, and so say we were to approve premium pay and we separated out of two pots of money and they're paid, all the employees are paid. How would you handle year end with that? It's just gonna just be extra money? It's W-2 works the same. It's okay that it's coming out of two pots, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be out of the same, I don't want to say the same fund. It's naturally got to come out of American Rescue Fund for premium pay.
Okay,
But there are W-2 forms for each one of them will just
Yeah.
reflect the total
Okay,
gross, what that is.
that won't bother, that won't
Yeah.
mess anybody up.
There's going to probably be little glitchy things we have to work through, but what I'm, when I talked to Mr. Smith at the attorneys for this, he said, Adam, he said, Brian, as long as you've got a good tracking on it, you're allowed to use that premium pay. He says, it's kind of unique what we're doing here because when they leave the station, they don't know what they're going into.
Right.
They don't know if there's people that are,
Sure.
infected or not. They don't know. And for us, they can't ask, hey, by the way, are you infected? So that you can go and zero in. It's a premium pay for hazard when they go out. And that's the way I'm going to word it and sell it on the reports.
So Chief, if we went to pay period to pay period for this,
Yes.
we're gonna be a little weird for a minute because right now we get it meeting to meeting,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
All right, so that doesn't seem like it'd be a big deal.
No, that's
Okay.
not difficult
All right.
at all.
I just want to clarify, the goal of premium pay is, what is the goal of giving premium pay?
Well, because they're going
To
out
get them
into a
to
hazardous-
schedule to work?
They're going into a hazardous, and it's to make
It's
us a little more attractive.
Right now, the way I understand, if someone's working their full-time job and their hourly rates and stuff, they might be $3 or $4 higher, if not more. And this premium pay, a way of using this rescue money is to offset that, to keep us more in line, that someone would not want to necessarily go. They would make themselves more available to increase our staffing along with, in hopes that people would want to come and work at the
Okay.
township. That's the goal. As fiscal officer, my challenge on this is to say, okay, between now and the end of this year, how much money would be spent when this is approved? How much money would be spent at the base of 727 runs annually? I'm averaging this out at and I'm figuring 2 hours on each run times 2 people, because at least 2 people are there. There could be a third person on there.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring that on the low and high side, there's this gray area there that could be 8,000, could be up to 9,000, 10,000, depending. And I don't have nothing under my belt yet. I know my challenge also is to ask you trustees that part of one of my later things here is to ask for, I'm certifying that money to be certified in this year, but I need to have a appropriation approval from you of how much. Like right now, this is our first project. So we're going to say, okay, at the end of this year, $4,000 between now and the end of the year.
Right.
And then we would start into the new year. Maybe I have 3 months under my belt to track it, kind of give you guys an idea, because I need to write it up for next year. Then we'll have a greater idea of how much money we have left in a balance to use for other projects.
So
So
to
my
answer,
only comment is, if that's the goal, and I believe that was the goal we agreed on, then after we do 1 year of this, we need to see an analysis of it, if it made an impact that was that way.
Yes, that would be great. That's the whole idea. But
Right.
if you wanted to set a time limit, like say, start in a certain point in a biweekly pay period for me, it makes it easier to start it this year, go through the end of the year. I could do a little analysis there, but then moving forward into the new year, if you want to, in 22, from the first pay of that year to the last pay of that year, then we track it. Then we would know before we move forward if you wanted to do it like
I'd
that.
like to do a year from whenever you start here, so that we have a couple months at the end of the year to really look at that analysis and see what the impact was. I don't want to go clear to the end of the calendar year for the analysis. The payment can go through. the end of the calendar.
You can do it that way. To me, I'm figuring $8,000 a year times 5 years. This is good. We have to have it. If we're going to do this for the whole period of the 5 years, we need to have that analysis set up, that we need to at least kind of know what that money is, to know what to set that 5 years, because then we don't have 4 years tentatively. If we go from right now, I look at it like you got to get some numbers under your belt so I can see what it is.
Yeah.
And then go. But if you
But
wanted
it has to be effective, or we need
Right.
to do something different.
yeah.
sure.
If you wanted to do it from a year, say pick a time now and go that 12-month out window, we should pick a bi-weekly date to start it and a bi-weekly end date in 2022 to make it a clean cutoff.
Okay.
But before that cutoff, you can run it where we can do that analysis. I can do that real quick. I mean, we'll be able to see if the rosters are full. We'll be able to see
Right.
And that's what we
what money we spent. And it'll be real easy that you can approve it to carry it on without it stopping to the firefighter.
In my opinion, to answer your original question, why do this? I think it's twofold. I think it's to appreciate those folks that are in harm's way, and that's what the money's for. And second, we had 17 mutual aids this round. 17.
17
17
times where somebody came.
17 times someone came to help us. That's a problem. So
Yeah.
we're trying to incentivize people to stay with us.
And so did we set that dollar rate yet for the premium pay?
I'd like to see $4. That's where I'd like to be.
You have, I wrote down if you did $3, that's $8,700 per year. If you do $4, it's $11,600 based on 2 hours times 2 hours for 2 men or 2 firefighters or EMS, okay? 4. Now, if a third one comes in, it could be a little higher, but then you don't know how many hours are really going to be out.
Yeah, we're estimating this. The whole thing's an estimate.
It's all
It is.
estimate on runs.
It is.
We
The whole
got
thing's
an accurate number there based on what we have so far and what we did in the previous years. I have all the runs from 2020 going back to 2012. Give you an example, in 2012, we have 571 runs. Our highest run looks like 2018 at 779. And in 19, it was 735, it dropped. And in 2020, it was 703. And the chief might be able to tell where we're at exactly right now. But if you average them out, that's 655.
Yeah.
I'm using 725, a high number.
So it's going to come in under.
I'm gonna, hopefully it comes in under, but you never know.
Right.
But
Well,
to
yeah,
try,
but if it takes off and works, it's probably gonna go up.
it definitely
will.
would go up.
It will go up
It
because
would
more
go
shifts
up.
are going to be filled that aren't being filled
But
right
it
now.
also means how it's based on call volume.
Yeah.
So does that mean your call volume instantly goes up to 900?
No.
Not really.
No.
I don't see that
That's
type
the
of
beauty.
trend.
That's the beauty of this. If that truck's not out running, these
Yeah.
funds aren't being used.
Yes.
That's kind of the purpose of the money is COVID's way.
It's for a premium for hazardous duty due to COVID and pandemic
Are you-
level stuff.
Are you sticking the time frame on that motion?
Yeah, we can time frame it. I think this motion is going to be pretty heavy because there's a lot going on here. So I do want to make a couple of them. Or do you guys want to decide? Is $3, $4? What are you guys thinking?
We can always adjust it. I'd like to see the motion for just 1 year though. And then I think we need to
And we
adjust
can adjust it from there. Yeah.
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 And I think right now we really need some incentive, so I'm okay with going with 4.
You okay with that? Andy?
Yeah, I don't think,
Okay.
4
All right.
years.
Do
Is
you want me to
everybody
split
okay with 4
4
for right
yeah.
now?
4
Just
for
let me
now, for
take
a
my
year.
note here.
Okay, 4
And
for a
then
year.
time frame, I'm looking at time frames like when we can start versus a year.
Okay.
Let me double check my notes here where we're at.
When's your next pay?
Chief, while they're looking at that, have you seen any improvement with the 24 hours now with covering shifts?
I would say no, only because October's schedule was complete already.
Okay.
But
Probably see
like
it
I
next
said,
round.
it was really well received by everybody and,
Good.
So obviously when November's schedule comes out, we'll see how it looks. But if you remember when we talked about it, all 3 things that we've done, well, assuming it is passed, with the 24s, the premium pay and the better hours for training, I feel like those are 3 big steps towards fixing the problem. And I'll be interested to see what it looks like by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So that time frame is what I'm looking at.
Good.
I hope it improves and I think it will in November, December.
What are you thinking, fiscal officer?
Well, the pay period to start on would be October the 10th. Now that's the next, not the very next pay period with them because we're kind of in the middle one.
Yeah.
But you start the next one, which would start on the 10th of October.
And
Let me
run-
make sure I'm looking at this right. Bear with me here. It's 1, 2, it's paid there. Then you start there. That'd be the 29th. Double check. There. You could start on, I don't want to start on October 3rd. There's a lot to go. I want to start on October. Yeah, because you got, there's now 1, 2, there. 1, 2, there. You start on October the 17th.
17th, that's the Monday of a pay period.
That's the Sunday of the first of the 17th is that pay period.
That's the start of
Then
that
that
pay
would
period.
start it of the first pay of November the 1, 2. Yeah, the 5th. November 5th would be the first paycheck that would reflect it. So it's like the last 2 weeks of October.
So if we started on October 17th, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right,
Now I'm just trying to look out ahead to tell you the
then
end
we'd be a
date.
year, we'd be a
If you want to
year.
just say 1 year and
We
let
can
me
say
do
1
the
year.
research and say 1 year from then.
Okay. And then that's gonna give you guys a little bit of time to change your, chief, that's gonna give you a little bit of time to figure out your Excel spreadsheet so we have the right information to him. Because obviously it's gonna be your responsibility to put it on there so he knows to pay you, obviously. And then adjust our call volume sheet so we can line everything up. Okay. All right, Trustee Varian would like to make a motion. Starting October 17th, we would like to begin paying a premium pay of $4 per hour over regular wage. The money will be used from the American Rescue Funds. This period of time will go 1 year, and in that year birthday, we will reassess and decide if we have the funds to continue. The chief and the assistant chief will be responsible for figuring out the hours of on-call and turning that into the fiscal officer.
As part of the payroll. So.
As part of the payroll bi-weekly.
And the premium pay is for actual,
And the premium pay is on-call, it'd be on
On-call hours.
on-call hours.
Well, when you say on call, let me
Like
make sure.
like
What do you call chief when you're just staffing? You call it staffing?
Out
Step-
On shift.
On
out,
shift.
out on.
So on call.
On-call
means
is when
they're
you're
out.
physically
Okay.
outside the
Okay.
building. And shift is when you're in
Did you actually put an end date or is it just 1 year from October 17th?
1 year from October 17th. But no,
I can get an
We'll
end
get an
date
end
for you. I just don't
we
want
need to
to.
sit down and look through
The
the.
calendar don't go that far. I'm gonna sit here on the phone. I got other things
No,
running
that's
on
all
my
right.
phone.
All right, Trustee Griffith will second that.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Griffith,
Yes.
Piro,
Yes.
Varian.
Yes. Now, when we do our handbook, this can be an amendment in our handbook.
Right.
And we'll just have it in, not in, because it's a temporary thing, but we can amend, put it in the last, and we'll write this up. All right, great. Thank you. Anything else for fire, chief?
No, that's all I have.
Okay. Double check, make sure. No, I'm good. Got
Cemetery.
it. I know Ryan isn't here tonight, but I did want to ask so that whether if Stu and Brian have a chance to team up with him, a location point hasn't been determined for that new sign. Exactly. We talked about it, we threw it out, we said when we get it. So I know Ryan isn't here tonight, but him and I talked a little bit, but we didn't know if you trustees had an idea where you want the placement of this, if you want it just parallel to the road, how you want it. Where the old sign was real close to the tree, that if you're familiar with that on the hillside, this is all nice and Ryan and them guys was seeded and strawed that off after the doze work. If you want to move down further,
I think we want to locate it where it's easy to mow around and not easily access to vandalize.
I think you want that.
all the way in the back.
You want to, yeah, I better put it in the woods.
Unlit.
We could put a solar light on.
Put it 60 feet in the air.
That's right.
It ought to be up there roughly where the old one was.
No, I'd go a little higher.
Well, you can go higher up, but I mean, it's less chance of somebody trying to run it over.
Yeah.
It's tapered right to the road, so nice.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
are we all of the opinion that we can just let him make a choice while he's out there?
You could, I think if they come to like
I think
Stu
the
and
three of
them,
us will come to a good spot.
yeah. If you tell them in the general area where it was and up higher, I think that gives them a good idea of where.
Yeah, I think you guys can stand out there and pick it, and stand in the road and see what it looks like.
We just don't want it close to the road where people can vandalize it easily.
And if we don't put it, we'll put a sign underneath it that said, Stu put it in. Ask him.
It's all on you.
That's right.
I think you run over right now.
Okay, the other thing was, when I came in from the zoning meeting, the next morning, I saw the Wreaths Across America promotion flyers were in here, and I made copies. I sent them out to your email and your Outlook. I know that Ryan isn't here tonight, but that's scheduled on December the 18th. And I know in the previous, we talked about just Mapleton. I don't know if there was any other talk or ideas of what the society wanted to do, if they wanted to do other
They
cemeteries.
asked if they could expand it to all the cemeteries, and they've now identified the number of military veterans that are in those cemeteries, and so they're going to try to do all the cemeteries.
Wow.
And
Give me an example. When you say all, we have 5 that we're maintaining like all the time. We have 15 in our township.
They're
but we're-
talking about the 5 we're maintaining.
Okay, because Elson is a little one down by, I want to say Clappers and Norma Jean Bechtel's home. You have Mapleton, you have Union up at East Canton, you have Indian Run, and you have Wildwood.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
probably only aware of those 5.
Okay,
So they're looking at doing it on all of those 5. I don't think it'll all be at the same time. They'll probably stagger, do the ceremony just like at Mapleton, and then go from one.
Reese? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
They just won't all be laid at the same time, but all the same day.
Cool.
So I told them I didn't see a problem with going to all 5 cemeteries. I don't know if we need a resolution to allow that or.
Well, you might need some backup traffic control and stuff. Last year it worked okay. Stu was over, Ryan was there, everybody. When I was there, they're right at Mapleton. That's where if everything's like it was.
Mapleton's the one.
is
The
the
other
main
cemeteries, there's
congregation.
only a few in each one.
Yeah, and when you say a few, Indian Run probably has 30 or 40 up there, if not more. I'm just thinking how many flags I see flying for veterans. Wildwood, they're now starting to mark that out. There's more than one. There used to be only 1 or 2. There's probably a dozen down there. Up in Union, I know there's got to be 60 or 70 flags up there. So I just was wondering to give Ryan some cushion to help him. And with this, to get things where they need to go, it might be a little bit longer than the Mapleton one. You got Mapleton, what was it, an hour or 2, or if not 3? And then till you get around all of them to help out, you might need to okay some
But I
hours.
don't know if they'll need people, because I think it's just individuals going and placing them. They're not having a program. They're not having a bunch of people to go to all of the other ones.
Do you know if the society, how they came and asked us about it? Will they come and ask us in person at our trustee meeting? Because they did come.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't know if
They came the night of the zoning meeting and brought the
Okay,
flyer.
because that was here after that zoning meeting.
Yes, and that's why I think they, what's her name? Not Kay Upel, Karen Niesenwich brought it,
Okay.
because she's on their board.
I guess just for you trustees to make a decision on help or what we can do. We
So I
need to
think we
have,
need to wait, see how many they actually sell.
Yeah.
Because
What's the-
they're not buying them at their expense. The residents have to buy them,
right.
Yeah, through their website.
and they're sponsoring it. So maybe they won't get that many for some of these other cemeteries. I don't know. So maybe we'll see her again, Mary, at the zoning, Karen, touch base and ask her when it gets closer to come and give us an update on what they think they need from us and the volume that they've sold. So
Right.
will you put that in your notes, make sure we do that.
That's all I have. Ryan and I didn't talk in the last couple of days, like if anything's happened there, but that's all I had.
I've got one quick thing to add. The Kuntz Memorial Cemetery, which is located in East Canton, the Kuntz congregation did vote to relinquish that cemetery to the township.
I don't know anything.
Where's that one located?
It's right across from Dave Varian, where Dave Varian lived. It's on no,
Oh, is it that little one?
it's the little one by the railroad
The
tracks.
little one with
Okay.
about
100
30 big
trees.
trees and
Yeah.
all the crap
Yeah.
to clean up.
So I know nothing other than they did approve. They had three votes against and 20 votes for. So give you an idea of how small the congregation was, 23 people voting. But so they did vote to relinquish the cemetery. That's all I know. So
Do you know,
more to come.
Trustee Varen, do you know who a contact person is yet? or
Is it
anything?
okay for me to give your number to them? Your
Well,
office
I
number?
would like them, in the past, Indian Run, Wildwood contacted us.
Yep.
We helped them with some documentation we
Okay.
need. And then they come either in person or they surrender a letter to you trustees to
Okay.
formally,
Yeah, we have to have some formal
it's a
documentation.
formal document.
So I will tell them to contact us.
Good.
Thank you.
Oh, there goes our budget.
Poof, gone.
Yeah, we just have to figure out
Yep.
creative ways.
Creative ways.
I got lots of lines.
Stu's tree service.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chapel, we cut them.
Mhm. All right, road report.
All right, good evening, everyone. If the trustees have read over the road report, is there any questions you'd like to ask?
Stu, I did have a resident contact me and complain that there are still branches laying in the ditches from when they
Yep.
cut.
And I contacted and talked to the man that works with AEP about that. They said they were clear over. This was a couple weeks ago. They said they were over around Faircrest, over that direction. And they said they would be back over this way to clean all that up. I said, well, I hope so, because I said it's laying everywhere in our ditches. We can't even mow along the edge of the road. I
Well,
said
that
it's
was
a
the
mess.
comment from the resident. They said, when we go to mow in the spring, you're not gonna seal that, and you're gonna start hitting it with our machines.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
okay.
you can't miss them. They're pretty tall and bushy looking.
Stu, when you went to mow behind the dumpsters of the fire department, did you see there looked like there's a lot of action from ATVs back there?
Brian went up and mowed.
Okay. You're still
So,
seeing
I
action
don't-
back there?
No,
Not as
I
much?
think it stopped because
Where
the
it
track that
stacked
they
up.
were making, grass has grown in there.
Okay.
And it was just a mud pit for the longest time.
Okay.
Ever since he blocked it, the grass is now growing
Yeah,
back.
they're coming out. on the
Well,
coming
they're
out-
on
they're coming
Wood
out of Wood,
Street,
yeah.
not behind.
But they're
the
not
station.
going on the station, they're coming over. Yeah, okay.
Somebody else's problem.
Somebody else's property. All right.
Well, they come out through there and they don't stop.
They don't.
They just
Somebody's gonna
walk.
get hit.
People's
Yep.
almost been hit there many times
Yep, they
by,
just come right out.
even Chris Newman, Deputy Newman almost hit something.
They're gonna close that road if 30 goes through, but.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that isn't gonna stop the four-wheeler.
No.
Nope.
All right. Pricing estimates for asphalt pad beyond new concrete pad.
All right, that's the section that we cut off there and stayed even with the end of our big main apron out here. I had talked with Fiscal Officer Lowry about possibly us going ahead and going out a little farther, roughly 25 feet, and saw that and cut that out and rip it out and possibly have DMJ Services, D. Mosgrove, come in and pave blacktop back in that area. That's why I brought up the thought about having it painted then and everything for the handicap area.
Yeah, trustees, when I saw how it looked so nice out there, and then it had that raw edge, and I thought if we start throwing gravel and papping it in, it's gonna track up and be all over that ramp. So the thought was, I just wanted to have him present you all with some pricing if we were to get that blacktop, and then identify that area as a marked off, we can mark it off as a handicap spot with your 8-foot parking spot with 5 foot on each side, and then they can get out, unload, and come right up the ramp. I think that's originally how it should have been done. It wasn't really identified clearly that way, but I think it would be nice if if you think that would be a good idea. Another thing I thought about was when both the secretary, zoning, there's not like 20 of us up here other than meetings, but there's always one or two people popping in and out, was to do a little parallel park, an angle park right here off of that cement after it's painted out, striped out, just so that you could park 2 or 3 cars there as people come up to meet with zoning inspector, or in the morning, whether I'm here or somebody's just here coming in, drop something off and leaving, that we could identify that and make that look all nice and gingerbreaded out. So the paving part of it came into picture, and I asked Stu to get those prices so they could present it to you. I know the price for this Dean Mosgrove was $850. And then the asphalt, I think he estimated 6 to 7 tons.
Yeah, around 6, but we probably ought to go with 7 just to be safe, so we do not run out, come short.
I asked Stu to get the pricing. I think you all have that Shelley company that used to be Central Ally, now it's Shelley. The price, Stu, is at
59.75 a ton for the 448 type 1 asphalt.
So that would be times possibly 7 then?
So if you went with 6 ton, it's 358.50. If you go with 7 ton, it's 418.25.
So $1,400 is enough.
So you're looking at about if you went with 7 ton along with the 850, that comes out to 1268.25.
Yeah, I said not to exceed.
Not to exceed it, yeah. Just to
And
be safe.
That's 25 feet out, that's all.
16 foot wide by 25 feet.
And then we gotta get it striped.
Yeah.
Huh?
Then we gotta get it
Can we
striped.
go back to what
Over
you
that.
said, Brian, on the parking? Were you talking about parking on parallel with the building?
Well, you know how we sometimes come up straight in, like right now tonight? During the
Yes,
daytime, like say Sue or
Sue
the
parks
guys
the
on the
other
snow,
way.
they come straight in like this.
Yeah.
but with our new thing, doesn't that get the back end of the car out in front of that garage door if they park parallel?
No.
It actually gets you away from my
Yeah, it
garage
actually
door
gets
more,
you
so I
away
have
from
more
the
room.
But if you
Okay.
angle it,
park-
there, that butt end of any vehicle is
Yeah.
out less.
It's
If you
less.
just angle
Oh,
it.
okay, so
Because
you're
you're on a
saying
45
angle it
degree
down
angle.
Yeah.
there.
Because
Okay.
if you angle, say
Instead
a
of
bigger
parallel.
truck. comes
Yeah,
in,
you're sitting parallel to
These
it.
guys aren't blocked.
Yeah, that
They come
sticks
in.
out too far.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sue's been parking there a lot of years. She's gonna park wherever she wants, whether it's mine or not.
Yeah.
She gonna back that thing in.
Well,
I've been parking here for
we
30
do.
years. What are you doing?
You know, right now, Sue, leaves roughly anywhere from, 9:30 to 11, depending on how heavy of things we have. But we come in here at 6 o'clock in the morning and are leaving at 9, 10 o'clock. But then Mary may be meeting someone up here in the afternoon. And, they come up, there's nothing there saying park here. Right now, it's kind of like, just park wherever you
Do we need to
want.
get a straight?
And it might happen to be in front of his garage door, even though there's signs up there. And screw him.
Does Dean paint it, or do you have to?
You paint it?
No.
Alright.
That wasn't in on the deal. He
Alright.
said he would, if we were gonna go out, me and Brian's gonna do the prep work as far as cutting out, getting the full 25 by 16. We're gonna put 304 crushed concrete back in there. Dean said he would drop off his tamper, gas powered tamper, and we'll get that in there to where it's about, I think he's gonna put roughly around 2.5 inches paved back in there.
So back to the blacktopped area, then the 2 posts for handicap parking would be preventing them from driving on to our new cement.
Well, that was talked about too. Stu and I talked about that because we did get 2 posts donated with handicap signs on it that we could put there. But the thought is that if I could put a striped effect, like a no parking zone right across the end of it, back like 3 feet,
Mhm.
so that, yes, people wouldn't come blasting up there. They still could, or you can get those, I know you've seen them, the
How would
signs.
they know it's handicap parking?
We're gonna put that
Well,
down.
you'd have to put an
Oh,
icon
you're
there.
gonna put
We're
it
gonna
down
do that
on
on
the
top of the
blacktop.
You put it on
Okay.
top of the blacktop, but they make those, I don't want to call them a breakaway type handicap, that if somebody's bumper hits it, it pushes over,
Yeah.
but it's attached into concrete or into that pavement.
It's like on a little swivel base. The
I
reason
kinda-
I'm concerned, not with the handicap people, but the delivery trucks, that's where they're used to pulling up on top of there.
Yeah, we have delivery every day up here.
Yeah, you
They
No,
don't pull-
I've seen people pull up on top of
Well,
there.
I haven't when I work here every day. They
Yeah,
come up and
FedEx
swing
and
around.
UPC or UPS, they always. pull
FedEx,
off
all of them
out
just
there
swing
and
up
over.
around.
They come in his door more than they come in the
So
other.
are you guys planning on putting 2 handicap parking spaces?
I'd say one, because we originally had one there and we shortened the ramp. I would say the one would be fine,
All right.
because you still have room that if somebody parked in the other ones, you still could get somebody up there. They just have to go out and back up,
Yeah.
because they can't come right off of those.
Yeah.
There's a step. I did find out, talking with Sue about, I didn't realize this, but years ago, before it even was deteriorated, someone fell out there on election day, and there was some insurance claims on that, just that little step. So that's why the painted edge was always done, to identify that step up. Even
So
though
we
it's,
need to paint.
this step up now is a lot less than what
We
it
need to
was.
paint that edge.
Yeah.
We will.
That's part of that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put two angled parking spots up to the new edge.
Right now, they're just trying to do the asphalt.
Yeah.
They're not ready to mark it yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
We can,
I'll
We just want to get the blacktop in there.
I'll make a motion to
Well-
not to exceed $1,300 to do a 25-foot additional asphalt for handicap.
Trustee Varian second.
As
Done
soon as
by
possible.
DJM Services.
As soon as possible.
All those in favor, aye.
All right.
Thank you. Last week, here at the end, towards the end of the week, we were going out to Durapatch, and truck 201, we lost number one injector on it. We drove it up there and had Ronnie and them look at it. They found out that the number one injector had failed on it, and then we need to order a gasket, the valve cover gasket. So that's roughly what the estimate's gonna cost to fix this.
this, you're saying this is 1,590 is with the
Yes.
gaskets and
That's
labor?
gasket and injector.
That's back out to on the road.
Yeah,
Yep. Number one injector and gasket.
the gasket is kind of a weird gasket. It's got all kinds of plugins on it. Going around.
Trustee Pugh moves to pay RV's truck and trailer fix truck 201 for the new injector and gasket at the cost of $1,590.
Trustee Varian second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Approval of finished gravel and prep area around new generator and rear of township garage.
Yes,
Do you know where we're at? This offer yet? Can we,
Yeah.
do we have some money for that?
The one thing that I did do, I knew how much we had left for doing little upgrades around here. We had about $4,500 there in those funds. And right now with what you approved, we used only 2,200 of it roughly with everything we had. But I told Stu, I said, to get that cleaned up back there, because I know they had full intent of doing all that, but to get it right, we held off because we didn't know what the funds would be. But now we're at that time of year where that needs finished up back there.
Okay.
we went back there
How
and
much-
sodded it
You
out
got a limestone in?
and laid the plastic down everywhere, and then
Okay.
we started to put 304 crushed
Okay.
concrete back in for just the lower base. But then we wanted to go in there and top it off with nice 57 limestone all around the generator and
Do
the
you know how much you
air
need?
conditioning. And I want to be able to go out here and finish going
some
along
of
that edge, filling that back in with the 57 limestone too, along the new approach there. So,
When you say 57s on, you mean on the grass side or out off?
no, right there in between the grass and how it goes the whole way around the building,
Longest cement.
Oh, you want a
Longest cement.
gingerbread out around?
just straight out.
Just a new cement.
Just along that new cement there where it was all taken out.
That's not gonna take a whole lot.
No, but it's gonna take
Yeah.
about 25, 35 ton back here.
Is that what you need?
They don't go very far. It's heavy.
Do you, the 57s, I know the question I would have, limestone, ain't that high price stuff?
That's
or-
very high price.
Yeah, well,
Can
that's
you
the
use
size of
something-
we.
Can you use something that isn't that high price and
I'll
look
tell you,
nice?
last
No,
time.
because you go using different types of stuff, like you're gonna probably want me to use the 9s up there. That'll be like driving on
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to be a
It'll
dummy,
push
but
everywhere.
I was
don't mean to
thinking
be a
more
dummy,
just
but
putting bigger stone down, not 57.
Are you
Let
gonna
me
drive?
let me call and check the price.
what's the stuff we used around our house and stuff? Is that like number 9?
That's wash gravel.
But I mean, out
That
here
does not
around the
work.
building and stuff, I mean, can you use something like that?
Not out there.
But out here, you could use limestone, but,
Right.
but just
A
something,
little bit out here, that's only gonna be a drill.
I don't think it's much difference in price anymore, but you won't be able to hold the washed gravel along that cement. Those lines gonna lock in.
I know that.
I'm just telling him, but then,
can you fill it half up with concrete, that 304 concrete, and then top it off at 57?
Marbles in.
That's what I'm doing back there, so we don't use as
Isn't
much.
304 like $14 a ton?
Well, what are you gonna,
I will tell
what do you
you
think?
You can get limestone much cheaper from the Delaware plant, and you might be able to get someone to truck you up a load, and it's cheaper than buying it up here, and they'll bring it and dump it. We've done that before. So it's half price at least or more down.
Really?
Stu, do you have any idea a ton, just so?
No, I don't. I'd have to call up to wake up.
I'm gonna say it's pushing $30 a ton.
That's what I was gonna say, 28 to
We
30
just-
And
bucks.
how
I
many
just got an
ton would you
accountant
say
at
back
25.
behind
That's a
there?
deal.
Well, I'd say between 25 to 30, 35 ton. Limestone's heavy. It don't go very far.
It doesn't go very far.
But if you're getting that much, that's a semi-load. You might find
I
it
know.
cheaper to do that.
Right.
But try
Maybe
to-
I'll give Denny a call to find out and try to,
But it's the same plant that's up here. They have another, their main plant's down at Delaware.
yeah.
And that's where they rail it up is from that one. You're paying for the rail service.
Just barely have enough, but you'll have enough in a cushion if you go.
So you might want to look at, I don't know, it might work.
So are you gonna get us prices and we'll go next round on this, or you wanna get something
He
going?
said 25 to 30 ton, 25 ton,
Maybe we can get
$30 a
prices.
ton. roughly
Yeah, I better get prices.
$750.
And you better see if they
You go
even
up
have
to
it.
$1,000.
Right?
Should
That's
be-
right. Some of these places, man, they don't have it. They're out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Alright,
Because
so
these
you get
oil
prices.
sites really
But
use,
that's their
Nothing
main
should
pit
be
down.
out.
right,
Yeah, yeah. That's
hopefully
what I
he
would
gets
say.
better price.
And then he can see what he can do on pricing if he's gotta come down.
All right, Trustee Carroll moved to not to exceed $1,000 to do the stonework around the generator, around the new cement and in the bag.
we'll just submit it.
Not to exceed 1,000, trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Trustees, this is where I had my spot I needed to have some approval. Stu could verify this, but I did prepare a Strasser Constructions check for $146,027.66 for tonight. This was approved to do the micro sealing and all, but I prepared the document along with the copy of the original purchase order there for you all to look at.
And so how did the edges of those roads turn out when they did the micro seal?
Looks good.
Now, too.
Looks good.
Oh, sorry.
There's a lot of people think it looks ugly, but I don't,
I'll get that.
you know, what can you do?
Oh,
It's gonna hold up for a long, long time.
That's a heavy check right there.
Can I get one of them?
That's exactly.
Did we have complaints from anyone driving on it when it was wet?
Me, I wanted to complain because they drove on it when it was wet and messed
Public
it up.
speak, you missed public speak, I'm sorry, buddy.
We can back up.
Trustees, I usually ask for a resolution just to approve the release of that payment.
Trustee Carroll moves to release the $146,027.66 to Strasser Construction for the micro sealing.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
The next one, trustees, I had was it is for TBC concrete. It's just, I wanted you all to have any questions, anything to approve the payment that was prepared off the $2,100 to put that pad out there.
No motion to release.
I don't, you can make one. I don't need one because you already approved that 2,100. He was right on the money. And it wasn't a road project. It was a project that was approved here, but you can. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, yeah, we did approve it.
And the other one I have is the Village of East Canton. I did get from the Stark County Auditor the amount for the tax levy that we get, then we distribute a portion of that. That portion is $27,141.07. This is the second payment that comes out of the 2141 fund for the road levy that we get to us, and then we give their portion to them. I do always ask for approval to release that to them, that dollar amount.
Trustee Puro moves to release $27,141.07 to the Village of East Canton for the road levy fund, from the road levy.
Trustee Varian second.
All those in favor, aye. Opposed?
Thank you, that's all I have.
I want to let you guys know too that Melway, I talked to Terry last Thursday, I think it was, and he said that he will be coming up to chip and seal here around the middle of the weeks, somewhere between Wednesday through Friday, to get the chip and seal done, and then they'll be back up after that to burn.
How about the salt bin?
Salt bin, I've been on the phone today with Dwayne.
More than today.
Yeah.
Every day.
He's answering his phone at least. But
It's a good start.
we talked several times today. He's still on the phone with the outfit that's supposed to do most of the work, but he's trying to possibly get something going here to get the footer started. He said he's gonna, on the last call there right before I came to the meeting here, he said he was going to be here tomorrow to start marking out where the building's gonna be and the footers and everything. And hopefully have some more stuff to tell me tomorrow as far as lining up the rest of the work. That's all I can really tell you right now.
Zoning,
So since last meeting, we've had one permit issued for modifying equipment already on the tower. So there was no fee collected for that because it didn't change anything. They're just updating it. Over on Indian Run at 3399, where we had it posted and mowed, they did mow it, so that's taken care of now. Other than that, haven't seen any real changes since last week or 2 weeks ago. Our next meeting for the commission is October 18th. We're talking about maybe doing some layered zoning along a couple of the routes. And Board of Zoning Appeals has their hearing October 4th.
So I do want to mention that Jeanette and Greg Morris, they gave a call back to us on that lighting issue over there off of Clear Haven. And I think their question was, had we taken any action yet? But I don't think they understand that add something into the zoning book takes quite a while.
I asked some different elected officials outside of us, and if they had anything about it, and they have not as of now. Even and I asked Mr. Stolfwich from the state if he had anything come to, and they have not.
They like light nuisance issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So no guidance yet from that.
Okay. Well, we can ask the commission to look at it, but it's up to us if we want to ask them to do that. We'd have to have guidance for them though, and you didn't have a chance to find anywhere else, did you?
I've looked, I haven't seen anything yet, but I checked just around here for the most part.
So maybe at this point, before we try adding that into zoning, have Mary put a nice kind letter to the owners of the property with the light and just explain to them that your light is exceedingly bright and disturbing neighbors? Could you maybe not use as much LED?
Maybe redirect it.
Yeah, or redirect it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that is the house with the older lady, so I'll see if there's somebody I can contact and see if they might be able
A
to.
nice letter might go further than we think.
Yeah, let's just try a nice letter and see if we can resolve the neighborhood
Good idea.
issue just by asking. And then we'll go from there on that one. I did want to report that Phil Rowlock had gave me a call. And Randy, he said he called you, but your voicemail, there is no voicemail.
Call me
So,
when?
you'd have to ask him that. I didn't ask him.
Is this on Cinderella?
This is on Sindel.
That was months ago.
No, he just sent me the email here on September 21st.
No, I don't know. He didn't-
So, but he did resend the email and said that the guy did everything he asked. And he's now closed the hole in. And he sent a picture where the ground is graded flat. And so
This was the hole with the trash in it.
yeah,
Okay.
and so the thing is complete. And so as far as the health department is concerned, they closed the case.
Oh, this is the same place that was rebuilding the garage, correct?
Yes. And I believe the garage is probably rebuilt too.
Yeah, okay.
And so they're done with that one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's nice to get rid of it.
Let's take that one off.
And then the last thing we have would be I did get a hold of the consultant on the layered zoning and asked him to resubmit a quote to us with his updated everything. And I had asked if we could mostly stay remote because he's from, I believe, Cincinnati area. Well, Dayton there, and I don't really see a need for him to be here in person. The question, Brian, is can we do a Zoom here?
We're set up to do Zoom. You're just saying he would be on Zoom and everybody else would be here?
Well, I thought if he Zoomed to my laptop, then I could
Cast
project it on, cast it onto the
cast it on
TV.
Well, you can Zoom just like that, right on that screen up there where you see us.
Okay,
You can Zoom right on that one. Now, keep in mind, I have never really done it officially yet. Only thing I've done is Zoomed one person in on one of your laptops and that was it.
Well,
And then I moved the TV up here. Remember when Trustee Piro was here, we put his head right up here, like you
oh,
said.
yeah, well,
So I can do that with him on a Zoom.
that one doesn't have a camera, so you'll be able to see
Yeah.
him.
Well, yeah, his,
You have to use yours for him to see
we
you.
can,
but
we
you
can
can't see him.
project,
Yeah.
well, we
Yeah.
can project Trustee Griffiths onto that
Yep.
screen.
that's what I
Set
thought
that
we could
screen up
do.
here like we
Right.
did with Trustee Piro
Right.
on a Zoom. He would be on a Zoom and everyone here could hear him.
See
'cause I'm
him.
hoping
See,
everybody
yeah.
could hear him, see and hear
Yeah,
him.
don't pay him to drive over here, right?
No, because it would cost us a lot more. We'd be paying his travel fees, and I don't think we really need that.
Yeah.
And the time, extra time it would take.
Right.
No, I would just let you know for future, I gotta look into this. I gotta notice that, you know how we were Zooming and doing all these virtual meetings? That ended at a certain point, and I forget when it was, sometime in June, I believe, when the state emergency went off. You were supposed to be back at live in-person meetings
Now you pay for
with
it.
trustee meetings.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that falls into place, like if they reimpose that we can do that. If you were ever gonna have a public meeting or hearing to do that again, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but our meeting would actually still be live. We
Yeah.
would just be,
He would be the only one zooming in.
yes.
And as long as everyone in the room or anywhere, well, if we were broadcast, we don't broadcast our Zoom meeting or our zoning meetings
Not
right
yet,
now.
no.
But if we, as long as everyone present can hear him and
Yes.
interact with him, you're okay.
Okay. So he sent his proposal and we were having issues on where we need to put it into that zoning book and in what format. And in his quote here, they're going to do that for us. Once he knows exactly what we want, they're going to put it together so that we don't have, our volunteers can't do that. And so I was happy with that. And also they're going to submit a survey to us trustees as well as the commission to make sure that everything that we're looking for is they're aware of or any issues. So his quote here is 4,500. And then he added at the bottom, if we wanted him to come up for when the zoning commission holds their hearing, he would, but you can see it's $1,000 for each trip for him to come up here. spend the night and then go back.
Trustee Griffith, I apologize, I did read this the first time. Does he have anything where he's gonna allow us to pay half of this or the other half later, or does he need this all up front?
Or does he bill it at the end?
Yeah,
He didn't really specify that, but I'm definitely he would create a bill, and we probably would not pay him ahead of time.
Yeah, because it's kind of,
the only
It's a
reason,
service.
product.
the only
Yeah.
reason why I'm not saying I don't have enough money, I have to move a lot of stuff around to pay $4,500.
Well,
But if he was able to prepare it and do it on half of it or whatever, I don't see his terms on his plan here.
and it could be that as long as we approve it, he doesn't need the payment till the product's completed. And at this point, with the zoning commission, they only have 2 more meetings. They have October and November. I don't think they usually meet in December. So it may be after the first of the year before we finish it anyway. So, but I can ask him.
Yeah, if you can find that out, because the only reason I'm worried about it is I have to move some other funds around in the general fund normally pays that. We have money, we may have to do some additional certification of some other monies we have received. But it's close, when I use 4,500.
Okay.
It can be done, but it's close if he wants it done all in this year.
Okay, and this is the contractor that has also worked with Stark County Regional Planning, so they're familiar with him, which is helpful. So with that, I would like to make a motion that we approve hiring Aaron Sorrell for the planning insights for the layered zoning at a cost of total of $4,500. If we want to do any additional things as stated below, we'll come back and ask for that later. I don't really see us maybe needing that, but
Trustee Varian second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
and then Brian, I'll email him and get that answer for you.
All right, thank you.
Is that it? Anything else? Mary?
I don't think so.
All right. Old business, update on Succo's property.
Yeah, I've been working on this, trustees, well, for the last 4 weeks a lot. I did get to talk to Charlie Hall last week, and he returned a call to me this morning, and he apologized. He had a death in his family. He's going out of town tonight, but he got me a document. I believe all of you have a copy of my email from him regarding representation. And, you know, there's a couple of things Charlie had discussed with me, and then I talked to that. If you look at number B on the agenda, that Phil France from Huntington Bank, him and I have been talking, and he just wanted to know how we're going to proceed, if he made himself available to come to our meetings, but so did Charlie. And I asked Charlie the question, where should we start or where should we go? And he sent me this email, which came to the office and to me. So as you can see, he's saying, if you're interested in pursuing for more information, I recommend that a trustee, and he didn't say it has to be me, but he said you should have a fiscal officer and an undersigned be appointed as a committee to investigate and make recommendations back to the board. And then he talked about his fee and stuff as the last, but I didn't know how you wanted to pursue. If you wanted to, I know the questions about it, you know, the land, all that stuff. Huntington Bank representative Phil Francis has said he'll answer anything because he wants this to go. But as far as, because we usually use the prosecutor's office, and it might be a conflict of interest there on advising you as a board because of the outcome. If something would happen, we don't do this, it could be whatever, it just don't look good. But Charlie wanted to come tonight, but he said, I've just come to answer some questions. But he has made himself available, and he gave his recommendation there in that email what to do. And both Charlie and Phil said they could be at the next meetings. I just need to give them heads up. if we wanted to set a work session time where you could ask them the questions, so that you get your questions answered.
Yeah.
Because this is
That'd be good.
I don't want to take it lightly. I just want to make sure you guys get a good decision made on.
Well, I think first we have to agree, I think we should retain Charlie as a representative on this. And his fees are usually very reasonable for us.
He had, just so you know, when we had him on our last business there for writing and drawing up about the salt shed, he only used $400 of that 1,000, just to let you know. So
Oh, really?
we still have some money
Money left.
available that I could
Yeah.
close that out, reallocate it to something else here.
Would you like to see it in a work session? between
Well, that's what I was
Charlie
thinking,
and
that you,
Francis?
I think you need to start with Charlie just to get all your
And then bring in Phil
preliminary
Francis.
questions,
Okay.
then get Phil in here.
Don't have
because-
them come together yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then bring Phil in here and then go over all these, how this will go down, because, there's so many ands, ifs, or
Are we
buts.
gonna bring Charlie in? He's gonna say, "Boy, it'd be really nice to have Phil here." Or do we have enough to ask Charlie? Will he have enough paperwork to be able to give us legal counsel?
He said he can answer any questions.
Okay.
And if you want to draw up, I know Trustee Griffith had gave you something on our other project that we're working on for the American Rescue Plan, where I asked for questions there. She shot some things to me to prepare. And I know I've asked you guys at the last meeting, Trustee Griffith wasn't there, about getting that to me, because I'd like to get that to that Gregory Beck too. But as far as going back to Charlie, I think we should do the same thing. Maybe give him questions now in the next 4 or 5 days, and then I can schedule him at the next meeting for
Okay.
work
Well, I
session.
wonder if we don't have them both, because really the only questions I have is how that fund's being managed and what we can do with it as far as maintaining the park or adding things into the park, those type of things.
And I can ask, I know Charlie and Phil know each other very well.
Oh, cool.
They spoke very highly of each other,
Okay.
and they offered that. But I didn't know if you wanted to start by,
Could we stagger them? Could we bring Charlie in for first hour,
well,
do a work session, talk
you-
about the detail,
you,
and then bring Phil right in on his heels?
you tell me how you want it to go down. I don't see any reason why you can't bring them both in the same time.
Yeah, I think
Bring
we
them
have them
both
both
in.
together.
And because then they'll be hearing the questions.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They'll be right out in the open.
I don't know that we want to spend a regular meeting doing that, or do we?
No.
And your work sessions are already scheduled, that like tonight, you can schedule it for whether it's an hour before, however you want to do it for the next meeting. That's already in your reorg meeting that you can do it, and then we can set it up. And I can just get working on it. Your next meeting, just as a
Tuesday,
reminder, is on Tuesday.
Our next meeting is Tuesday, yep,
Yeah,
Columbus Day.
because Columbus Day's on 11th. It was in our reorg to be on.
That's the 12th.
Yeah. Be on
I'm
the-
going to be out of the state. I will not be here.
Ah,
Hey, it's been 3 years since I've had a vacation. I'm taking a vacation.
oh, man.
Do you want to do?
But I could call in if I needed to.
No, I can.
Well,
We can do
will
a
you
work.
be where you can, I zoom you in or something?
No, bobblehead. Well, I can do another. We can do another work session today if we don't want to do the meeting.
I mean, you can pick another, you're gonna be gone that week.
12. So it's 12th and 25th.
What's the next meeting? I mean,
The 25th is the following meeting of October.
if you all want to shoot for that, that gives them time.
Yeah.
And then I can tell them that we're gonna have them both in here. We want to ask, you all want to ask the questions. Because I mean, I have a lot of questions, and I know you guys will have concerns and things. I think it's good to have us all together. If you want to shoot, what time frame do you want to give to this? An hour before? What would you like?
Hour isn't very long.
I know.
I was going to say, I feel like we're going to go longer than an hour. Do you want to try to do a 6 o'clock on the 25th and go an hour and a half? It's a long night, but it'd be nice to get some of the questions answered. If we can get here by 6.
You think it's enough time?
You want to do something separate?
Guys,
We can do
I'm
something
off
separate.
work on the 18th for 4 weeks, so you pick what you want.
Do you want to do something?
Just don't pick the week of the 18th.
I think 25th is
Well,
fine.
if we want to pick a different date, we don't have to wait clear to the 25th then.
Yeah.
We could do it earlier. We could do it the week of the 18th.
You can't do it.
You just
that way.
said
Oh,
it.
not the 18th.
No, we can't. I look at it this way. The next 2 weeks, we got to give them a chance to figure it out. Brenda's out the 12th, 11th through the 12th week, and then Brian's out the 18th through 22nd. So let's just do it the 25th.
Okay, 25th.
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know. You sound like you got a lot of questions to ask them, and what do? We run out of time.
I'm not, I think a lot of my questions will be some of your questions.
Right.
And I think I'd rather you all fire them at them, because I've asked these guys, both of them, and they've given me a
Well,
lot
and
of,
and the other
that
thing-
I don't have to repeat.
And the other
it.
thing we have to realize, guys, is that they're in the business. We are not in the business.
Yeah.
So if we say to the lawyer and the banker, okay, you have a trust in front of you, tell us what we're allowed to do with this.
Right.
Let them talk.
Yeah. Your
I don't-
trust,
I mean-
your trust, I can tell
You know,
you
they're-
that Huntington Trust, he wants you guys to do something.
Yes.
No
he's
matter
gonna
what
say-
it is.
He's going to say, I want you to do something with this.
Yes.
But let him tell us.
But-
yeah.
To make those right moves, you need Charlie around.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
All right, so
You want to try to do a different day, Randy, rather than the meeting
no,
night?
let's just do 6 o'clock if that works.
On the 25th?
25th.
Okay.
We'll do an hour for an hour and 15. I don't think we should run right up to.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think we'll be done. I don't think it's going to take that long.
Well, if it isn't, we'll just have to have another one.
Let's go ahead and do a resolution, being we're starting that early. I mean, we normally have work sessions an hour before, but I think it'd be nice because you're starting earlier. At 6 o'clock, work session.
I'll make a resolution that on October 25th, we have a work session beginning at 6 o'clock to meet with an attorney and a banker.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
let me put this in.
Do we want to go in and just fire questions, or do we want to type up what we want to
I
ask?
think you need to type up, but if you can get them, we'll get them to them guys. I think they
Yeah,
both,
that'll make
then they come
me
in
go
there
a lot quicker.
prepared and they'll go a lot quicker. I think.
Okay.
Well, let's just bring them on. right.
They, the Huntington Bank, I had verbally, he answered a lot of stuff verbally with me. He said he can do whatever. And I said, well, it's going to be ultimately up to the trustees, but I just asked what happens if we didn't want every single thing. He said, that's no problem. He says, if you piece it together, like certain areas versus other properties, you can do that. That's what he's there to do, is work with you.
That's good. All right, that's good. I'm excited to hear what they have to say. It's good. If they both, well, granted, they both can come. We might have to adjust this if they both can't be there on that
Yeah.
night.
I'm hoping that they both have made it adamant that they could come. I know that's not on a meeting night that Charlie has, so that should work out.
Okay.
And we're giving them enough headway here that they could be here.
All right, ARP fund.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know the ARP funds, which you all noticed in the banking there on our treasurer's report, is in. I know Trustee Griffith had got me a list of questions to ask. I didn't know if Trustee Varian or Trustee Kerr, if you had things that you could type up. I'd like to just give it to them all and then they could respond, because there again, he will come in too.
Okay.
And sit down, but it'd be nice to have the questions to them, to prepare them, and maybe he could answer all of them in general, or you could, I just think you guys, that it's a good opportunity, that other money, what we're gonna do with it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because right now, part of, based on what we're doing now, as we get that money, I mean, we already have that money. After the first of the year, we're gonna receive another $209,187,000.
Right.
And I think I will, part of one of my other things is, tonight, I'd like to have a resolution to appropriate maybe up to a certain amount of money for this year out project with the fire department, because I need to appropriate the money. Right now, you made a resolution to do the project of paying premium pay.
Right.
I need a resolution to appropriate a certain amount of funds.
What would you like to see that number be?
Well, I would say we can do it. If we appropriate, we can either do appropriation between now and the end of the year, and then do a new one for the rest of the year up to the remaining time, up until that year time's up. or we do one and then I have a carryover purchase order amount, and I can do either way. The dollar amount, if we're going at $4 was, that's $11,800 for 1 year.
And you'd rather move just the project money. You don't want to move the whole thing until we have a project.
No, I don't want
Correct.
you to appropriate
Right.
the whole 209,000. I just want you to appropriate $11,800, for example.
As we go.
Yes,
Got it.
because then I have, as I fill out my charts on what you are planning on doing with this
You're
money.
going to give it
and
names.
I'm giving it names.
give it names,
I'm
okay.
giving accountability for that.
All right.
Okay.
Trustee Barron would like to appropriate $11,000.
11,800.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to appropriate $11,800 out of the American Rescue Funds. Would you like a timeline on that? Or does that need to,
No, you can just,
okay,
For the printing day.
for premium pay for the fire department?
Trustee Griffith will second that.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
yeah, and I have in my notes that I already requested and received on an email, but I want to get the actual amended certificate in my hand. But I have the approval right now in an email of the whole 209 has been certified. So if something would happen between now and the end of the year, you could still do some other moves if you decide to.
All right. Route 30 update, Brenda?
So Kirk Sharon's been very active working on that Route 30. They did receive one grant, and they keep renaming all these grants, so I'm just gonna say it's a grant, for $900,000 to purchase the last 6 properties. And they notified me probably 3 weeks ago, the state of Ohio did that. They were going to move forward with approaching those people and making those purchases on those last 6 properties. The mine, they're not going to do that till last because they decided it wasn't worth putting all the money into that up front if for some reason the road doesn't get built. So once they have the money to do the main project, that's when they'll come back then and close off. What's that street?
Osnaburg.
Osnaburg. I want to say Orchard. I'm in the orchard down there. Or Osnaburg Street. But again, yeah, the bikes are probably going to be able to get around however they close it. But so that won't happen till the end because I was concerned they temporarily closed it. They wanted to permanently close it now, and I didn't want them to do that because if this doesn't happen for 5 years, we lose that road millage. And so we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, and then they came back and Kirk was able to pick them up an additional $1.5 million grant from somewhere else. And they've been notified the track grant for the big project clear down to 44 is in the final running, something like that. So everything looks pretty positive right now. It does have Governor DeWine backing it now too, along with Kirk Sharon.
Mhm.
So that's where it's at.
All right. Thanks for keeping us updated. Did you already cover the things that you wanted, the 2 things?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're done?
Yeah.
Halloween, trick or treat, October 31st, 2021, 3 to 5 p.m. must be what we usually do.
That's what the village is, and we usually copy that for ours in Osnaburg. We make a resolution
Just
for
make it
that.
9 to midnight. Trustee Perry moves to keep trick or treating on October 31st from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.
With only good candy.
Yeah.
Trustee Barron, second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? District 19 appointees copies.
I'm gonna hand this to you, Trustee Bureau. This is what that District 19 is. They asked that by November, whatever was on it, November 16th or something.
And we're choosing 2.
Right. We have 2 members and alternates to be selected.
How come we only have 2 to choose from?
I think that's all that's there.
That's what I'm saying. Why are we even voting? Because there's nobody else on
It's
there.
supposed to be a formal thing, but
Okay.
We can write in.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, member,
No,
alternate member, alternate.
I'm already on the NRAC.
Oh, I would just
I'm
check,
on the
the-
committee that gets the money from.
check the member and sign away.
I just don't know how well they go
Please
out
don't.
and ask people to be on these.
Yeah.
2 members. All right, so we're just gonna go with them.
And I see there's only one spot, I would say President,
El Presidente should.
sign that and.
Yeah.
What's today, 27?
Yes.
All right. Resolution for healthcare.
This is a time of the year, trustees, where every 2 years we make a resolution, and I put a copy of the one for November 25th, 2019. It's usually a motion to carry on the medical, dental, vision, health insurance to be offered. I'm going to read this resolution. To be offered to full-time road employees, trustee, and fiscal officer per Ohio Revised Code Section 50560 and Section 505.601. The amount of the premium which will be permitted through the plan offer or amount which may be reimbursed for out-of-pocket insurance costs is not to exceed that dollar amount. I always take that dollar amount, what we're paying, and I do a 13 to 15%. I'm tracking it for the last, ever since I've been a fiscal officer. That number was $2,273.62 per month. I now calculated it $2,566.89. And then, or per year, it was $27,283.46. I calculated that at $30,802.68. The coverage may include medical, dental, vision, and prescription drug insurances. And normally you put this in place. I can tell you, as long as I've been fiscal officer, we never got to those points because we always have 10 premium or 2 premium on our holiday. It's far less, like almost $5,000 a year less on any of this. But just in case someone wanted to, as an elected official or an employee, a full-time employee, chose to keep their own insurance, the township would be responsible up to those dollar amounts to reimburse them or compensate them back to pay their premium. And I can give you this so you can see how it was worded, and I just scribbled in my numbers, the new numbers. This is resolution, I went back to 2012 or 11, and it's the same resolution we use. I just adjusted the numbers each year based on what the healthcare is.
Trustee Puro moves to include dental, vision, health insurance will be offered to full-time road employees, trustees, and fiscal officer per Ohio Revised Code Section 505.60 and Section 505.601. The amount of the premium will be permitted through the plan offered or amount which may be reimbursed for out-of-pocket insurance costs is not to exceed $2,566.89 per month or $30,802.68 per year. The coverage may include medical, dental, vision, and prescription drug insurances.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Is that all you have?
That is all I have, because we already talked about the next meeting on the 12th, and the National Wreath is the only other thing I wrote in, which we covered that.
That's all I got.
Trustee Varian moves to adjourn and pay bills.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye?
All right.
All right, give me a few moments here.
Just the two of you, you're taking the family.
Now we're going with the girlfriends.